be here today because she's not well, asked me to say the following. Here is my story. If the English is not so good, I leave it up to you. Thanks with a kiss. And I've changed a couple of small things. Hello, everybody. Just a little note to let you know that you are in our thoughts today, and we thank you all very much for coming. Thank you also to all at Acombe Court for looking after Dad's welfare in the last years. Thank you for making him always feel welcome and keeping his feeling of loneliness at bay. My father was my father. Everybody knew him in their own way. In the last couple of years, I saw him change into a rather nice man that had begun to open up to his feelings. He always seemed pleased to see us and welcomed us into his world, whether it was at Herons Hill Cottage or at Acombe Court. Later, I could only communicate with him via telephone calls, but he always thanked me for taking the trouble to ring. He was not the easiest man to get to know or to love, but sometimes we have to look at both sides of the story. Dad, Ray, rest in peace, love you, Mandy and Matt. And this is what I would like to say. My father could hook a trout in virtually no water, hit a clean golf shot, worked with wood and screws, and was a skilled gardener. He was a practical man. He was popular with acquaintances, comfortable even, and had a successful career in the civil service, rising to the position of official receiver. A competent presence in the courtroom, it is said, not to be taken lightly. When I saw him last summer, I took the opportunity to move the conversation away from the lunch menu and other minutiae to ask him about his life. Amazingly, I didn't know much about it. I still don't, really. I found out that he cared deeply for my mum Margot, for his daughter Mandy, and for his second wife Joyce, who sadly passed away earlier this year. He was also touched by the kindness of his stepchildren and their partners, particularly Alison and Derek, who had been considerate beyond measure. We talked of my mum's long illness and his father's early death at 47. We talked of his time as a Bevan boy, billeted with mining families at the whim of a national insurance number, of his brother Dennis overseas with the RAF and his love of the outdoors. I asked him about how his mother had coped with the premature death of her husband, Ray's father. He told me that she barely talked to anybody outside the immediate family for the next 40 years of her life. This information gave me more of an insight into him than anything else that we had discussed. My father struggled to show emotion and love throughout his life, just like his mother before him had. The loneliness and sadness of it all, the ripples in the pond, and the relief of eventual peace. And I hope that's what he has. Peace at last.